Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? Oh, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one for the little bitty baby born in Bethlehem. He was born in Bethlehem. I said, children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? Oh, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send them two by two for Paul and Silas, born in Bethlehem. I said, born in Bethlehem. What's up, y'all? This is Ty. How y'all doing? Y'all know what I'm here for. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I had to do something. It's the holiday season. It's Christmas time, so I had to do a little Christmas song for y'all. That's a Christmas spiritual right there. Does it tie into tonight's episode of Tyler Perry's comedy soap opera drama, The Oval? Well, the title of the title of this episode is called The Children. So kind of, sort of, but no. But since it was the holidays, I figured I would, sing y'all a little holiday thing. And don't forget, I believe on Christmas Eve, go check out June BLC's channel because I'm going to be on there for her Christmas concert. So don't forget to check that out. So I am here to do what, y'all? I am here to review season 3, episode. Is this episode? Let me look at my notes. This is episode 11 of Tyler Perry's comedy drama soap opera, The Oval. And tonight's episode is titled The Children. And I got to give a shout out to my lovely people that hold me down in the comment section. I'm talking about June BLC, of course, Geechee Girl, Lamont Simpson, Savannah Rivers Amore, Nadine Harris, Saxton Heights, Patricia Longcrier, Bobby Ray, Kryptonian Black, Crystal Lett, The R.C. Kroger, Tia Divine, Simply Be Yourself 100, Atif, and all the rest of you wonderful, lovely, fabulous people that hold me down, my lovely subscribers, you hold me down. And listen, you want to join in? Bam, hit that subscribe button and help keep this channel going and growing. So now let's get on down to this episode because I don't already spent 2 minutes and 51 seconds babbling. So let's get right to this episode. All right, so it picks up where we left off last week. Vice President, somebody called him Obama. I think that was Lamar made a joke. Somebody in last week's comment section made a joke about him looking like Obama. And in tonight's episode, the First Lady took a digs at that and said something like, you ain't Obama. So the Vice President had this brilliant plan. Not so brilliant. I'm with you, Kryptonian Black, who said, like, what is he doing? Kryptonian Black said in the comments last week that, he don't have this plan mapped out too well. He's just spilling things and not too bright. So he goes in there. He's telling them what he's going to do. And Donald's like, listen, VP, you're way off base. Because he told him, listen, I know y'all, this president done killed. He knew something happened. He said, y'all, he done killed 2 women. He's covering this thing up, this, that, and the third. The way they disrespected the vice president was just, it was brutal. The way they disrespected him, they were laughing at him. Now, this is where we see the First Lady, Victoria, and the president. She's all leaning in his lap like they're putting on this united front. I mean, they tear each other down, but in front of somebody else, it's like, no, you're not going to threaten us. And they was making all types of calling it, saying what he was saying was BS. And he's trying to cause a coup and overthrow the government. And they threatened him, and they told him that he was just what did she say to him? That he was just, what did she say? When they met him, he was a Adelman, something like that. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all correct me in the comments. And they said something about him being a dog catcher, and it was they just degraded him. And then they mentioned his children. How are your children in school and all that? They still go to that school. And he was like, don't you dare threaten my. But the way, you know what kills me with this show? The way the president and the first lady speak to people. Now, I don't care who you are. That's not how you speak to people. But everybody seems to be so scared. And listen, let me tell you something. The minute you start threatening my children, all that sir, ma'am stuff, that's out the door. It's time to. I'm not having that. So, I would have leaped over there and punched the president and the first. Well, yeah, I would have punched them both in their face. You don't threaten my kids, especially she talking about some. Oh yeah, I didn't threaten your kids, and then she says, I will kill them bastards. Nah, see. No, you know what? I ain't gonna hit you, first lady. I'm gonna bring my wife up in here. She gonna punch you in your mouth, and I'm gonna take care of the president. That's how that's gonna be. Oh, it's something, but he just left all like, don't you dare. He got to grow up here. He was the vice president is too wimpy for me. And he's like, don't you dare. Like, I just don't like the way he's written. Real goofy and weak. And I just don't like the way so many of these characters just cower down to the president and the first lady. It's annoying. And it's sir, ma'am, sir. All of that just pissed me off. And the first lady says something I thought was funny. She said, you don't know how vicious I am. I will kill a bitch, step over her to go get the butter for the bread or something crazy like that, to get the butter from the table. I'll step over her and get like they were just talking. They were real ratchet and ghetto and ridiculous and over the top. And I'm like, what is this? These people are just cold and ruthless. Meanwhile, as that's going on, the poor little vice president leaves out of the office, and then Donald's like, I don't think y'all should have did. They said, listen, he's nothing, and I don't understand this dynamic. He's nothing. We made him. You despised him this much, and clearly you must have needed him to run with to win the presidency. But I gotta keep my mind in Tyler Perry land and not be acting like this is the real world. But I was sitting here like the way they're treating this vice president is ridiculous to me. And he just got more and more ridiculous. And it was dumb of him. This episode should have been titled Stupid, because everything tonight was just stupid. Just stupid. So he goes and he calls, the vice president calls Bobby and Max, and he's like, they're on their way. And somebody, who was it that said, somebody in the comment section last week, who was that mentioned how, where did Bobby and Max get a car? I joked and said they had an Uber, but no, they were driving a car. They're going on their way to find Lily. And the VP's like, listen, y'all got to come back now, because the way I just did, I might be in hot water. And so they're like, listen, we got to go help Lily. So this is what you need to do. He said, listen, we're going to hook you up with Sam. We're going to call Sam, and Sam going to come talk to you. And, make sure you don't trust the surveillance, the men that's there with you, your security. So listen, call Sam. Sam is the man. Sam will help you out. Meanwhile, we see Kareem and Sharon. Sharon's come to his house, and y'all know I don't like Kareem. And Kareem is just happy to see her and asking, is she okay? And she kind of bypasses him. And she's like, listen, I want to talk to Dale. She goes and has this conversation with Dale. Dale pretty much sums up and tells her, listen, those people are crazy. Kyle and Donald are crazy. We got to stay away from them. And then he tells her something like, your best bet is to stick with, he tells her, your best bet is to stick with Kareem, so we can all be safe. And I was like, huh? Okay, whatever. So he tells her that was that. Moving right along, poor Lily is still getting tortured. I laughed through this torture. I guess what you drown her, you put the towel over her head, and then you're pouring the water on her, and then talk, say something. This is stupid, because she's, no matter how many times you do it, she's not doing it. And he's like, oh, you're tougher than I thought. So Kyle is continuously pouring the water on her. Donald calls, and he's like, listen, tell him what he needs to know. And she's still holding out. She's like, listen, I don't know nothing. Let me go. He says, no, we can't let you go. You're way too valuable. That's what Donald says to her. And they continue to talk. He says, make it hurt. Make her feel some pain. So I'm thinking he gonna do something like cut some fingers or do something. He's pouring more water. Hello, dude, if you're this guy who does this torture to get people to talk, this ain't working. You done poured water on her. She's still not talking. You done put the towel over there. So he keeps doing the same thing over and over, and it ain't working. It ain't working. So I don't know. And I gotta give it to Lily. Lily wasn't playing. She called Donald a pussy biatch. She said, you got to get somebody else to do your dirty work. And then she said to Kyle, she said, you doing all this over 4 inches? Then she go taking those jabs. And he said, oh, it's more than 4 inches. But still, dumb. Just dumb. Meanwhile, you had Crazy Jason. We're going to move on right on to Crazy Jason. This made me laugh as he's circling the couch and Alonzo is following him. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And as he's saying, you got to follow me around. He's still Alonzo's still on surveillance for this guy. He's like, you got to follow me around, this, that, and the third. I was sitting here like, what? This episode is giving me a headache. I just thought everything was dumb tonight. I thought everybody was being dumb. So anyway, here comes the first lady. She says to Jason, what are you doing? He says, I was going to jump out the window. And his mama told him, she said, well, make sure you land on something hard. And he said, you know what? You are just evil and, I hate you and all this. And she's just cold. And he said, where's my sister? He wants to know where's his sister at. And she said, same place you're going to go. And, he said, you're horrible, this, that, and the third. And he's like, we need help. Y'all need help. He said, you know why we need help? And she said, why? Because I was a horrible mother. So they had that whole thing. She just was cruel and cold. And she seems just to be the first lady just seems to be getting more evil as each episode goes on. So Jason storms off. She says something to Alonzo like, listen, you need to keep an eye on him or I'm going to take you off his detail, whatever. Stupidness. So here comes more stupidness. Here comes the VP's wife. And she greets the first lady. She says, hi, first lady. And of course, Victoria's like, hi, second lady. And throwing jabs. And I don't understand what all the hatred is for. And then she was being really rude and short with her. Oh, where's your security? Where's that? How are your children? They still go to that school. And then when the vice president's wife asked her, how was her children? Oh, they're doing better than yours. No, they're not. Your children are losers. So one is a cycle, both are cycles. And, come on. Your children are losers, Victoria, so stop it. But she's throwing jabs, and this is what makes me mad. The vice president's wife is just sitting there. I'm like, come on. First of all, Tyler, listen, when you wrote this, you kind of wrote this wrong because I don't know no mama that's going to let somebody say anything about their kids, even if my kids are doing better than yours, and that ain't going to set them off. That should have set her off right there. Like, what? What you say? Your kids is what? They doing better than mine? What? So then the first lady went on to tell her, I don't like you and your husband and this and that and the third. And even that, once you telling me all that, it's time to go. And then she's like, well, I got to go see my husband. No, you're going to have lunch. Why is everybody letting the first lady talk to them like this and treat them like she's their mother? I don't care about her being the first lady. There's no way you getting away with talking to me like that. And instead of this woman saying, no, once I go check in with my husband and speak to my husband first, then I will come to you and have lunch, whatever. She's like, oh, okay. Especially after this woman told you she don't like you and don't you ever come in here to this White House. Don't you ever come back here trying to outdress me and look better than me. What kind of high school bully foolishness is this? And shame on you, second lady, for standing for this, for taking this. Why are you going for that? You're supposed to slap her across the room. See, I would have enjoyed it more if she would have said, bitch, what? And slapped her across the room, because you know what I'm here for. I want the shenanigans. I want to drag out, fight, some action, something, but she just sat back, and I think I left my phone, but you still sat there like a little punk. All right, dumb. Let's talk about Alonzo and Alan. Alonzo gets off, goes to Alan's house. Stupid. Alan is telling him, he came to tell him, I'm finally here, whatever. Alan is trying to tell him what happened, that whole situation. And for some reason, he does not believe Alan. He's telling Alan, you better go get some help for yourself, or I'm going to have to, I'm not going to be able to deal with you. No, I can't get you no gun. Alan, it's just best that you leave town. And Alonzo, you sound like an idiot. You know what all these people are capable of. So why aren't you believing him? So that just turned me off too. So he's like, oh no, what's wrong with you? You come on. And why didn't Alonzo know that Ellie was dead? You working in Secret Service, dude. Y'all don't communicate. Nobody communicates these things. Like, what's up with that? We also saw in tonight's episode, moving right along, we saw in tonight's episode Priscilla and Richard telling Priscilla, listen, you got to adjust this attitude if you're going to continue to work here. You just act, you got to do better. You got to do better. You can't be acting like this. And then she went on to mention, that she's trying, she really is. And then he brought up Sam to her. And he said, well, Sam is a good man and this, that, and the third. Forgive him. I forgave what's his wife's name? I was about to say Loretta. I forgave Nancy. Lord have mercy, Nancy. I forgave Nancy. And so you should forget. He said, listen, Priscilla said, listen, what Nancy did to you, that was 25 years ago. I can't forgive Sam. I just can't do it. F it. So then we see Richard call Nancy while Nancy's in the supermarket. She, hi, I was getting some of your favorite things. You know how Nancy is. And he tells Nancy, I need you to come to the White House because I need you to talk to Priscilla. Okay, I guess she's going to talk Priscilla out of not forgiving Sam. I don't know. So we also saw, speaking of Sam goes to Donald to tell Donald to have a conversation with Donald. This is after Sam has already talked to the vice president. But Donald's like, what you coming here for? And he's like, you got something to tell me? What were you in there with the vice president for? And Sam played it off. Sam was like, oh, he was just talking to me about his children. And Donald kept trying to trip him up. His children or your children? His children, your children? Help me. And he's like, no, his children. And then Sam went on to tell him, he said, what I had to tell you was this president of ours had a friend of mine that I know, a family friend of mine. He said, somebody I know their family. He didn't say her name. He was talking about Sharon and how the president lowered her hair, had Kyle bring her hair. And he's like, that's not a good look. Maybe you should talk to him. And Donald was being a jerk about it. Like, no, maybe you should. He said, you know what? I will. And then when Sam left, he's like, oh, I don't trust Sam. But Sam, at least Sam was smart. Sam didn't give him any information because Sam knows that Donald was a little dirty. Meanwhile, back at the house, at Lily's house, Lily is still getting doused with water with the towel over her head. But Bobby and Max are here to the rescue. And they come into the attic. Well, first of all, no, before that, they had this little scene, which I laughed through this entire scene. It was the action scene where I guess the people guarding Donald's house, they took them down in no time. They took them down. Wham, bam, bam, took them down. And, Bobby noticed that there was a leak. He could tell, oh, it must be coming from the attic. So let's go up to the attic. They get up there. Kyle is hiding behind clothes. And now they get into a shootout. Lily doesn't get shot. All these bullets flying. She don't get shot. And the episode ends like that. Tyler with this show, it just ends like that abruptly. And then they show the preview. They're still shooting. And, so that's that. So that was that in a nutshell. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about this episode. I didn't enjoy this episode. I really didn't. I thought it was dumb. I thought everybody got on my nerves. Everybody was dumb. The vice president is making dumb moves. Just, yeah, I didn't, yeah. So let's see what happens next week with next week's episode. Tell me what you thought about. Did y'all like tonight's episode? I didn't care for it tonight. I was like, this is stupid, but we'll see what happens next week. I believe that's where the vice president actually gets up the balls to have this press conference. But my thing is, how many more people can the president and how many more can they kill? I mean, because they're like, listen, anybody getting our way, they got to We got to do it, basically. So how are they going to handle the vice president? How is this all going to go down? We'll have to see next week. So that's it. That's all I have. I'm sorry, y'all. That's all I got right now. Tell me your thoughts. Did you like it? Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.